Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 5:33. Today is June 25th, 2026, and welcome to the special emergency meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Forest Heights, Maryland on FY27 budget for emergency ordinance number 02-26. This meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Here.
Councilmember Brownson,
Here.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember McDonald, Council President Noble.
Here.
Okay, Councilmember McDonald, I've acknowledged. Thank you. Council President Noble. Mayor Lilly.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Bear with me just one moment while my board docs refreshes. For some reason, it's frozen. Could you let me know? I just want to confirm the next item.
The moment of silence is your next item.
All right, at this time, we'll now have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. I'm assuming the next item is it the pledge?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all. Thank you. Next, we'll have approval of the main agenda. I move that we adopt the main agenda for this special meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the main agenda for this special meeting. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the agenda is adopted. Let me just a moment. Next, we'll have public period. Public period is the time when members of the public can provide comment or ask questions of the mayor and council. If we can give an answer now, we will. If not, we'll follow up, usually within 72 hours. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public period at this time? Okay, Ms. McCutcheon, I see your hand up if you would like to speak.
Yes. My name is Andrea McCutcheon, excuse me, and I live on Seneca Drive, and I am just sitting here appalled. You had deliberations on this budget clearly on at least 3 other occasions, and at the hearing, when you're supposed to deliberate, you say nothing. You haven't confirmed what the budget book even says or looked. And I just want to say that I'm appalled, and when you're in a hole, stop digging, because this is wrong too, this whole meeting and everything. And your intent is clear to pass through this budget book with all these discrepancies, and with no consideration for the town. You guys just wanted to be on a Zoom meeting so it wouldn't take long. This isn't a fix, believe me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. And as I've stated in the past, we had a budget hearing on May the 20th, which was advertised in the newsletter. We had discussions on a previous ordinance. The ordinance that is before the council tonight contains the majority of the same provisions. There were some slight changes made. We have discussed the budget section by section with an opportunity for each line to be discussed, deliberated upon. In our most recent meeting, we made an adjustment directing an additional $450,000 to street repairs within the town. And so the council and the mayor committed to making sure this budget ensures that we meet the needs of residents, things that we hear from them on in person, in meetings, through email, and by looking at the town's challenges and the goals that we're trying to accomplish. And this meeting is specifically designed after another hearing to provide transparency, to provide an opportunity for members of the public to comment on the budget, which has been distributed both physically and available online for those who would like to comment. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period at this time? Okay. Going once, going twice. Public period is now closed. We'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is emergency ordinance number 02-26. This is an emergency ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2027 budget and authorize its amendment by resolution. I move that we adopt emergency ordinance number 02-26.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt emergency ordinance number 02-26. Discussion. So we have scheduled today's meeting to provide an additional opportunity for discussion, public comment, any further deliberation that's needed, and to consider approval of this budget ordinance. As we mentioned before, we have had discussion and debate over this very important piece of legislation that basically guides the priorities of our town over the next fiscal year, which begins on July 1 and will run until June 30th, 2027. We have essentially kept most of the line items the same as the original proposal. However, in our most recent reading, we did make the decision to move an additional amount of funds that had been set aside for reserves into streetway repairs because we understand that is one of the most pressing issues in our town. We did this after discussion, which allowed us to see that our goal of maintaining at least 6 months of reserves in cash can be accomplished at the same time while we move the additional $450,000 into streetway repair for our upcoming budget. This balances responsibility with responsiveness to the needs of the residents who live across this town. In addition, we've set aside funds 1 year prior for the Maryland State Pension and Retirement System, which will be established this year and allows our employees to earn credit for their service in other local governments, which is a recruiting and retention tool, which we believe will help to serve the town's interests by allowing us to attract high quality talent and provide better and better service to our residents over time. I'm going to read the emergency ordinances so those who are joining us online have another opportunity to hear what's contained in it, and also to understand the overall appropriation for the FY27 budget. And then I'll open it up to questions or comment from council members. Emergency ordinance number 02-26 reads, whereas section 33-44 of the town charter requires the mayor on such date as the council shall determine, but at least 32 days before the beginning of any fiscal year, to submit a budget to the council, and said budget shall provide a complete financial picture for the budget year and shall constitute estimates of anticipated revenue and proposed expenditures for the coming year. And whereas section 33-44 of the town charter further requires that the total of the anticipated revenues shall equal or exceed the total of the proposed expenditures, and that the budget shall be a public record in the office of the treasurer, open to the public for inspection during normal business hours. And whereas section 5-205B of the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland authorizes a municipality to expend funds for public purposes in accordance with appropriated amounts. And whereas section 33-45 of the town charter requires that before adopting the budget, the council shall hold a public hearing thereon after 2 weeks' notice in the town newsletter or a newspaper of general circulation within the municipality. And whereas section 33-45 of the town charter was amended to permit the annual budget to be amended throughout the fiscal year by resolution, provided such authority is granted in the adopting ordinance. And whereas section 33-52 of the town charter provides that the amount to be raised by property taxes shall constitute a determination of the tax levy for the corresponding fiscal year. And whereas the mayor has introduced a separate resolution establishing the tax rates and user fees for fiscal year 2027 necessary to support the adopted hearing. If I could ask that anyone else who's joined is muting your phone, thank you. And whereas the town's fiscal year 2027 budget book provides detailed estimates of revenues and expenditures consistent with this ordinance. Section 1, now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights that the fiscal year 2027 budget for the town of Forest Heights is hereby approved and adopted for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027, and that the sums and amounts set forth therein are hereby appropriated. FY27 revenues follow below. Total revenues, $9,641,073. FY27 appropriations, $9,641,073. That includes $66,500 for town council, $27,500 for office of the mayor, $1,222,522 for general government, $2,867,203 for public safety, $779,480 for public works, $89,262 for youth and community outreach, $537,970 for debt service, $125,000 for restricted grants, $1,252,220 for capital improvement, and $2,695,416 for fund balance. for a total appropriation of $9,641,073. All right, Section 2. And be it further ordained and enacted that this budget ordinance may be amended from time to time by resolution of the mayor and council, including transfers between major funds, classifications, or appropriations in accordance with the town charter and applicable law. Section 3. And be it further ordained and enacted that this line item budget shall remain consistent with the total appropriations adopted herein unless modified by subsequent action of the mayor and council. And be it further ordained and enacted that if any section or part of a section of this ordinance shall be held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such holding shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. Section 5. And be it further ordained and enacted that this emergency ordinance shall take effect June 25th, 2026, having been introduced at a public meeting of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, held on the 20th day of May 2026, and having been read and adopted by a yea and nay vote of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights on the 25th day of June 2026. At this time, I'll open it up to comment by the council. And I see we have Councilmember Bronson's hand raised.
Yes, I have questions about the budget book. I know we went over it line by line, but some of the things we discussed when we're going line by line doesn't seem to have made it to the correction. And one of them is that I'm gonna try to find the page number. Page number 18, I think it is. Yes, under the town staffing department and salaries, it has that the strategic planning person, it was the position was in there for FY26 amended, the same as for FY27 draft. And then it has the department that is coming out of is the HUD grant, and it has that as a $93,154. And that was for FY26 and 27. So you have a strategic position that you said was amended in FY26 for 85,000 some odd change. And then it's the same for FY27. But on the staffing, you said that it wasn't filled. So there's a disconnect there, in this budget book. And I don't know what the correction it should be or is, but it definitely has to be something amended or adjusted there. If someone can explain that.
Mr. Frankenfield, are you online?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
On the staffing chart, we had a position that was filled in fiscal year 26. In fiscal year 27, we are creating a new position with a new title. Position hasn't been filled. Individual, we haven't gone out for selection of a candidate. I don't think we're certain on the salary, but we included the amounts so that our appropriation totals got to a reasonable amount, or our estimates of what it's going to cost in fiscal year 27.
Okay, so the question is, in FY26, did you have a strategic planning position?
We did not.
but on here it says you did.
Well,
That's my question.
yeah, I mean, we're kind of talking about, we swapped titles between the same dollars in 26 and 27. So yeah. I
But
mean,
shouldn't that
I
be
think
clear that the type, I mean, and if you're gonna do stuff like this, it should come through the council. If this person is in a position with a job description and it has a title, then that should be clear. I mean, it just doesn't add up. And then the amounts are different as well.
yeah, and the amounts are different because in the restricted, the grant lines, the lines that we bill to the funders, we include the cost of the benefits. So the salary table reflects just pure salary. The budget line includes the cost of health, life, FICA taxes. So there's a little bit of a disconnect between the amount and the salary schedule.
21,004. I thought that was the cost of doing business with the funders.
Yeah, we're talking about a different line, but I understand your comment.
I mean, it's still not clear. It doesn't make. It doesn't make good reporting sense. I mean, if you have a position, it had a title, and it wasn't strategic, whatever you want to call it. So what was that title then on the FY26? That to me is not clear, and it's not a good accounting practice, human resource practice, or budget book practice.
Council President Noble.
Yes. And just to, I guess, piggyback on what Council Member Brownson was saying, the just the dialogue in the book, even for the mayor's message, since the numbers change, I think the mayor's message needs to be updated with those numbers. And then you also have the authorized proposed staffing table. And this is for FY27. So we have the strategic planning and program coordinator, I guess, proposed, and we know it wasn't in 26, so 26 should just be 0. And for me, and Mr. Frankenfield stated this, because this is a legal document, I think it's got to be right no matter what, right? Because
Well,
this is part.
I want you to remember the difference between the legislation and the budget book, right? The budget book is our narrative that helps explain the line items and their amounts and the staffing, et cetera, et cetera. The budget book is a supplementary schedule that is not voted on. It is there for additional information.
But I think even for historical purposes and working purposes, it needs to be correct, because people will refer back to this, or when we need to amend the budget for any reason, then it may be said that it was already there, it wasn't there, and that's where the confusion comes in later legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. On the notes for the mayor's letter, it'll be updated once we have actually adopted the budget. So the proposed one that we see here will go out in a final form, and it'll be changed there. Councilmember McDonald.
Yes, just for clarity, I'm just trying to understand I guess, again, reiterating the 2026 line item for the strategic. So for the
If you were still speaking, you went on mute halfway through.
And the second question was, are these projections and proposals in that if we need to make amendments, we could make amendments? Because these are items that the treasurer has placed on the budget for us to consider if in the event we move forward with the strategic hiring of this individual. I'm asking a question. Thank you.
We got your second question, not your first question. Councilmember McDonald, we didn't get your first question. We only got the second one. Would you mind asking the first question again? It seems like you may be on mute. Okay. Mr. Frankenfield, did you catch the second half of the question?
I think it was, can you hear me, Mayor? I think it was
Yes.
directly related to the hiring. And the way I understand the town's policies is that once candidate's selected, candidate has to come before the council for approval for hiring. That's what I took the question to be.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't unmute. My first question was, does the line item have to be 0 for 2026? That was my question. Does it have to be 0 for 2026, or do we have to have an amount there for balance? I'm just wanting to try to get clarity on that.
Well, for consistency, that line was funded from the same budget line between the fiscal years. The conversation was the title changed, so we should have 2 lines. I hear you. Yes, but there was an appropriation there for 26. So yes, I think it needs to be labeled, whether it's on its own line with different titles. I think that's subject to everybody's opinion.
Okay, and then the last thing was, Mayor, with the grant amounts that you mentioned, do we have the money for reimbursable for those grants, the grant amounts?
If I'm understanding correctly, the grant amounts I mentioned on the appropriation, they are not reimbursable, meaning we are giving cash for those grants. Any other grants that are reimbursable, we haven't received the notification that we'll receive in FY27, and so those will come in at a later time to be evaluated separately if we receive them again.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Brownson, I believe your hand is back up.
Yes, and I was trying to, with the ordinance, the first page of the whereas says the town FY 2027 budget book, which is one we saying, and he said the treasurer said it's just there for, and we're not approving the budget book. But in the ordinance, it mentions the budget book as part of the ordinance. So we are approving the budget book when we approve the ordinance.
Thank you. Based on what I've heard so far, it seems that we can make it clear that there is a different position, that the two are not related, even if they're funded similarly or from a similar source. Is that the wish of the council?
Excuse me, Mayor, this is the attorney. May I say something?
Yes, you may, Mr. Deloach.
I just want to make sure that we're using the right language, okay? My understanding is this is more than a title change. Okay, this is a new position that is going to have new responsibility. So it's more than a title change. So I just want to make sure that the record is clear on that. And Mr. Jackson can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of this new position. It's a new position that has expanded responsibilities or different responsibilities or added responsibilities from the prior position.
That is correct.
Okay, that confirms what I believe as well. Different position. It has a similar funding source, but it's a different role with a different scope. And with that being the case, it appears the best way to handle this is to create an additional line or to change the title of the it makes sense for us to have a line that didn't have an appropriation in FY26 for this particular role, as it's going to be new in FY27. Now, let me ask this question. How can we accomplish that in the budget book?
My hand is raised. Can I speak?
Just after I get this question answered, I'll come right back to you.
Mayor, are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a simple formatting. We'll insert a row. We'll give it whatever the 26 title was. We'll move the 86 up to whatever the 26 title is. Again, it doesn't change the appropriation. So I still think the legislation stands as drafted.
I disagree on this point. We're going to need to make a change, not the legislation itself, but the budget book.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm going to invite just comment from council to make sure we're on the same page moving forward on this. Councilmember Brownson.
Okay, so don't we have to close out the FY26, whatever the title was during that time? That should be a line item in there and be closed out and not carried forward to FY27. Added in the budget book.
It sounds like you're saying that that line should remain and have a 0 for FY27, and then the new line should be added and have a 0 for 26, and then an appropriation for FY27. Is that correct?
No, what I'm saying is whatever that title was in FY26 should be a line item. And if it doesn't exist in FY27, it should have a 0 in there. And then the new one should have 0 in FY26 strategic position, and then a line item in a FY27. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comment on making that clerical change? I believe it'll help us to have clarity for the intent of the council. Okay. Is there any further comment on emergency ordinance number 02-26?
I'm trying to get my hand up.
Yes, Councilmember Bronson.
I thought that we discussed that for the street repairs, we were going to move it into FY27 under public works so that it would be get more attention than being in the long-term?
Yes. And to respond to that, that's what I said in the meeting. Upon reflection and how we measure our reserve funds. So our two reserve funds, rainy day and the operating reserve funds, are based on a formula that excludes significant capital outlays. So I changed it to capital improvement projects because the likelihood of the town, that's not an operating cost. It's not a recurring cost. It's a one-time significant outlay. So it distorts our reserve formula. So that's why it's in the capital outlay section of the budget.
Was this communicated to us?
I changed, I mean, obviously the documentation reflects where it landed. I changed my mind on best presentation after the meeting. It doesn't negate the will of the council to appropriate the money or spend the money. It's about what section of the budget we put it in.
Yeah, I would like in the future, if you do something like that, you decide to change it, communication would be wonderful. Thank you.
Noted.
Councilmember Brownson?
No, I'm done.
Okay,
I need to lower my hand, I'm sorry.
okay. If there's no further discussion on emergency ordinance number 02-26, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Excuse me. Councilmember Hines,
No.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson, I'll come back to Councilmember Brownson. Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
I was trying to ask the question, if, before we vote on this, are we gonna get a corrected budget book? So because that is part of the ordinance. How is that gonna play out when we're approving this ordinance and making changes? How's that gonna play out?
We will receive an updated budget book, yes.
And then do we have to verify that it was corrected and the treasurer didn't decide to move something someplace else?
Yes, and we will. Prior to it being sent out as the official budget book, yes.
So at this point, I have to abstain.
Council President Noble,
Abstain.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
4 yeses, 1 nay, 2 abstentions. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Actually, that's not true. This is an emergency ordinance. It requires a supermajority, which is 5.
That is correct.
You're correct.
Yes, my apologies. The motion fails.
Okay, I have a question. This is one thing we can do. Can we, Mr. Frankenfield, how long will it take to update the budget book? We could do this update now, it seems like, and get it moved, and we could have a motion for reconsideration on the emergency ordinance.
Yeah, Mayor, I think the only item at conversation is the salary table. So none of the budget lines actually change, and I can do that in 15 minutes and share.
Council President Noble?
Yes. Okay. Well, that was my question. If Mr. Frankenfield could share it on the screen. Thanks.
Yes. And if we can have one of our administrative staff do it if Mr. Frankenfield can't.
Thank you.
Mayor, can you just confirm with the abstentions and the nays that will satisfy their concern?
Yes. To those members who voted nay or abstention, will the adjustment to the salary that we discussed for the new position versus the old position being updated in the budget, will that suffice? If we display on the screen prior to the next vote. Council President Noble?
Well, for me to vote, I like to see what I'm voting for is actually what I'm voting for. So it will help in my vote. So as long as we can see it, I think I don't want to assume it's there. I want to see that it's there. And I think the residents, as a courtesy to the residents, they need to see it and know that we are, doing our due diligence to make sure we are voting on what we say we're voting on. Thank you.
Okay, so seeing it on the screen after the change is made, does that suffice?
For me, no.
Once he updates it as well, it can be sent via email, so it's there for each person to have to review on their own as well and have a copy of that's official. Council Member Brownson?
I was going to ask, what is the procedure after the ordinance has failed? You just can't go back and take the vote again, can you?
We can make a motion to reconsider legislation.
It's hard for me to read a budget book online with the changes and but I mean, if you focus on some of the things that we said and show that then that would be okay with me.
Yes, we're going to show the items that item that was up for discussion, those two items. Zeroing out the past position in FY20, zeroing out the past position in FY27, and zeroing out the new position in FY26.
No, that wasn't all we discussed. See, that's why I want to see it, because we discussed putting a position that was there in FY26 and the amount, that's a line item. And then the new positions wasn't there in FY26.
Yes, I'll say again, we're saying the same thing, and we're going to verify that what Mr. Frankenfield puts on the screen meets that.
Yeah, y'all are saying the same thing, Councilwoman.
I have to believe it.
I understand.
Mr. Deloach, is there any other consideration for the motion to reconsider based on what you've heard?
No. Due to, you guys have 1 day or 2 days to get this budget passed, or else you're going to have to carry over your FY26 budget. That's so if you want to have a different meeting or a different vote on a different meeting in a different meeting, then you're going to have to schedule something for tomorrow or on Monday.
My question is, based on what you heard from discussion, do we have what we need to proceed with the motion to reconsider?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you weren't doing this, for no reason. There were no reasons put on the record for the abstentions. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that it was going to satisfy them with the procedure that we're doing moving forward with, having it revised in 15 minutes. So I think you got your answers there.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, are we proceeding with revising it right now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you have a couple of options. You can keep the meeting open right now while it's happening, or you can take a brief recess and come back at a particular time.
Mr. Frankenville, how much time do you need? He looks like he's working on it now, so we'll just remain in the meeting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 10-minute recess. We'll return at 6:30 to reconvene. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 6:32. At approximately 6:20, we took a recess of this special meeting of the mayor and council to allow for some one update to the FY27 budget book that is proposed under emergency ordinance number 02-26. And now that we're back in the meeting, this was the item on our agenda, the last or the only item of legislation. Madam Clerk, could you just confirm who we have back in the meeting at this point for the minutes
Yes, sir.
purposes?
Councilmember Hines. Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Brownson.
Here.
Councilmember Little.
Present.
Councilmember McDonald.
Here.
Council President Noble.
Here.
And we have yourself, Mayor Lilly.
Yes.
I just want to go back. Councilmember Hines.
Present.
Okay, thank you. And Councilmember Kennedy? All but Councilmember Kennedy. Thank you.
Okay.
He was in the waiting room. He's coming in now.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Kennedy is present. Okay, where we stand is we've received via email the updated budget book. If I could have a member of the administrative staff to display that on the screen. I believe it was page 18 we were going to. Okay, based on what we see here, we have the prior line is zeroed out in the FY27 draft, and then directly beneath that, the strategic planning and program coordinator line zeroed out for FY26 and has an appropriation for FY27. Councilmember Brownson.
For the grant manager in FY26, it was 93 something in that line item. $93,000 something. They weren't the same amount.
Mayor, I can respond. This is strictly salaries. The budget line includes benefits.
I don't understand that.
Part of the cost of hiring employees are their salaries, their FICA taxes, life insurance, etc. So the budget line's slightly higher because when we bill the funder, we bill them for the full cost of the employee, meaning salary plus their benefits.
Okay, so with the strategic planning and program coordinator, it could go up to 93 as well.
Yes, that's what the appropriation is, yes.
I'm trying to figure out why is that different than all the rest of the salaries for everybody else that's under a grant? Why that logic only applies here?
It's the same process for the youth coordinator. So we include the cost of the benefits in their budget lines. Everyone else has the department has a health insurance or a payroll tax line.
Okay. And back over there under the HUD line, did you change that?
No change there. Remember, no change in the appropriation. It's just about the position and the disclosure of the positions.
See, that's what I can't understand, because it appears that position is all that position is going to be charged to that grant. Whereas in the job description for the strategic planning and program coordinator is going to be doing so much more. I don't understand why all the strategic planning and program coordinator going to be charged to the HUD grant.
So that's a question for Mr. Jackson.
It just looks fishy.
I don't know that fishy's the word. I just
I
don't
don't have the same vocabulary, so, but okay, yeah. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Frankenfield and Councilmember Bronson. I'm going to explain where we are now that we have seen the change. The way that this will work is a member of the prevailing side, someone who voted in favor of the motion to adopt emergency ordinance number 02-26 will or can make a motion for us to reconsider. This needs to be done today on the same day as the vote, and then if we have a motion where we have a majority of members willing to reconsider, then we can vote a second time. Is there a motion to reconsider emergency ordinance number 02-26? This must be made from someone who voted in favor of adopting the emergency ordinance.
I'll do it. I'd like to make a motion that we reconsider emergency resolution 0-26. Sorry, 02-26.
It would be, just for the record, could you state emergency ordinance?
Yeah, sorry. I would like to make a motion that we reevaluate or reconsider emergency ordinance 02-26. Is that all?
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we can reconsider emergency ordinance number 02-26. Discussion. All right, do we have what we presented prepared us to vote again? I'm going to go to Council President Noble.
Thank you. Somewhat, I guess, because this amended FY26, the money was taken from another position, but we don't see the change in that. And So if we go to that page, or is that something Mr. Frankenfield said he didn't need to change it?
Sounds like you're asking about the page where the other page where the grant section is.
Right.
Let's go to that page.
Page is that?
Okay, here we go. It's at page 43, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So it reflects 9015.15.
Mm-hmm.
In the staff outlook that we looked at, the position shows that there's a different position from last year versus this year. The line item number is the same. The appropriation is the same. Mr. Frankenfield, could you answer Council President on this particular question?
Yeah, so we're appropriating the same dollar amount. Just two different positions doing the same work. Budget is unchanged. It's all about the staffing chart.
And the additional caveat is that the position will be approved, the dollar amount will be brought before council for approval for the individual and the actual final salary.
So in other words, and I just want to make this clear, under capital improvement projects, this doesn't need to change because it's under capital improvement projects. Is that is that the understanding I should have about this?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And the capital improvement project, you're talking about what's on page 43, is that correct, Council President, that we're displaying right now?
Yes.
Okay. So with that change and explanation, are you prepared to vote in the affirmative or to vote again?
I'm prepared to vote, yes.
Any further discussion on the motion to reconsider emergency ordinance number 02-26? Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, to me, this still does not make sense. So all you did was the program manager changed it from out of FY 26 and this same position doing the same work is now going to be the strategic of whatever in the FY27. So you just changed the title of the work. You're spilling it to the same grant. So nothing's changed but the title.
Mayor, if I can step in again, that is not the case. This position will be doing more than the prior position was doing. Okay, we just got to make that clear. There is overlap, but this position will have an expanded role. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that.
Right. So I understand what you're saying, but in that, does all that money get charged to that grant then? That's what my question is. Why would all that money get charged to that grant if they have an expanded role doing other grants and other things?
Mr. Frankenfield?
Yeah, that's a fair question. So for grant billing purposes, we would take allocation of time, meaning we would ask the individual in that position to say, what percent of your time did you work on the grant? And we will allocate the funding accordingly. Again, this grant has 15% overhead, so maybe we can bill it all, maybe we can't. I have to dig into the grant specifics to answer that 100% clearly. But in the event we can't bill of all the person's salary and expense to the grant, we won't. But for budget purposes, we assume we can.
See what I'm saying? Now you're saying you can't, but for budget purposes, you're gonna assume that we can. You know you can't.
I don't know anything. I'm
Okay.
doing the best I can to answer your question.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor. We've had discussion. We have seen the updated budget book with the newly created position, the old position which comes to a close in the fiscal year, not funded in 2027 in the FY 2027 budget. The new position is funded beginning in FY 27 going forward, no funding or allocation, and that's made clear in the budget book that we have presented. Are we ready to take our vote? Okay. Madam Clerk? So just before we go to this, we're going to have two votes. There's a motion to reconsider, and then there's a motion that comes after that that allows us to vote on the original item once again. Is that clear?
Is that a question for me, Mayor Lily?
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
All right. Please call the roll, and this is for the motion to reconsider emergency ordinance number 02-26.
Councilmember Hines,
No.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
I have to say that I don't think you can reconsider a failed motion. So I think that's it. Once it failed, you got to do something else. So reconsidering, I don't think is part of Robert's rules. So my answer is no.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes, according to Robert's rules.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes.
5 yeses, 2 nos, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I now need a motion to, I see Council President's handed it up. Let me say that. Go ahead.
In reference to Robert's rules, and I'm asking if the attorney, Mr. Deloach, could chime in on that failed motion and the reconsideration.
Well, the motion is already passed. Okay,
Okay.
that's one thing. Okay, but Robert's Rules of Order does allow for motions for reconsideration.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I move that we adopt emergency ordinance number 02-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt emergency ordinance number 02-26. Discussion. We've seen on the screen the position that was changed in the staff listing in the FY27 budget book. Is there any further discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
No.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
Back to when the attorney said the motion had already passed. It did not pass. So when he was explaining the reconsideration, he said the motion passed. It didn't pass, it failed.
That's not what I was referring to. I was referring to the motion for reconsideration. That
Oh,
passed 5-2.
Councilmember Brownson, may I have your vote for the adoption of the ordinance, please?
no,
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
5 yeses, 2 nays, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That concludes our legislation and the items on our agenda for today. The time is now 6:53 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. We hope to see everyone out on Saturday, June 27th. We had 2 cleanup and dumping events. The cleanup event and the dumping will be at the Star Cleaners, 5529 Livingston Road. The shredding event will take place at the Town Hall, 5508 Livingston, Arapahoe Drive. This is what happens when you don't eat dinner before the meeting. Have a good night.